Welcome back to the Unwritten English podcast, where we teach you the rules that aren't in the textbooks. I'm Kim, and I'm here with my co-host, Cosby. Today, we're talking about something that literally made me sweat through my shirt last week.
Oh, tell me what happened.
So I'm in this cross-functional meeting, right? There's like 8 people there, including the VP of marketing, and she asks me this super complex question about how our customer acquisition strategy should evolve given the new market dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, this is my moment to shine. But instead of taking a second to think, I just word vomit. I start talking about attribution models and funnel optimization and customer lifetime value, but none of it connected. I could see her face just glazing over. And I'm still talking, like a broken sprinkler system that won't turn off. By the end, I had literally no idea what point I was trying to make. And before you give me the phrase, can you talk about what was happening in my head? Because I feel like I understand the panic, but I don't understand why my brain just shut down.
Oh, this is fascinating. Your brain was doing exactly what it's supposed to do in a survival situation. When you feel put on the spot, your nervous system kicks into fight or flight mode. And for most of us, fight means talking. So your brain dumps everything it knows that sounds remotely relevant, hoping something will stick.
So it's like word soup? My brain was just throwing everything in a blender?
Exactly. It's the classic school student trap. You're conditioned to think that pausing means you don't know the answer. In school, if the teacher asks you something and you sit there for 5 seconds, everyone assumes you don't know the answer.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
But here's what they don't teach you. In the corporate world, giving an instant answer to a complex question makes you look impulsive. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a CEO get asked about quarterly projections and immediately start rattling off numbers?
Never.
Never. They pause. They think. Because that's what leaders do. When you word vomit, you're basically saying, I have all this knowledge, but I don't know which part is relevant. They want you to solve a specific problem, not prove you memorized the textbook.
That makes so much sense. So today, we're giving you the cheat code for buying yourself thinking time without looking like a deer in headlights.
Exactly. And it starts with one simple phrase.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the magic phrase?
That's a really good question. But here's the key. You have to say it like you mean it. Slow it down. That's a really good question.
That's it? That's the secret?
Don't underestimate it. First, everyone loves hearing that their question is good. It's an ego stroke. Second, you just bought yourself 3 to 5 seconds of airtime while your brain reboots.
Okay, but how do I say it without sounding fake?
The wrong way of saying it is, that's a good question. Like you're shocked they managed to string together a coherent sentence. And here's the right way. That's a really good question. Thoughtful, deliberate. You're acknowledging the complexity of what they're asking.
Okay, so I get the phrase, but what am I supposed to do during those 3 seconds? Because honestly, when I'm panicking, 3 seconds feels like 3 hours.
Think of it like a loading bar on your computer. You know how when you click something and that little bar starts filling up? That's your brain processing. Don't panic during the loading time. Let it fill up.
I love that metaphor.
And if 3 seconds isn't enough, you have the repeater technique. You repeat the question back slowly. How do I see the market evolving? That is a key question. Now you've bought yourself another 5 seconds and you force the room to wait for your answer.
Right, and it builds anticipation. But what if 5 seconds passes and I still don't have a solid answer? That's when I start to panic.
That's when you use the clarifier. Instead of answering, you ask a question back. Here's an example. Just to make sure I hit the right angle, are you asking about the short-term implications or the longer-term strategic shift? Boom, you just bought another 10 to 15 seconds, and you look thorough, not confused.
That's brilliant. You're making them be more specific.
Exactly. And there's actually a psychological principle at work here. When you ask someone to clarify their question, you're shifting the cognitive load back to them. Now they have to think about how to frame their question better. While they're thinking, you're thinking.
Oh God, this happened to me in an interview once. They asked about some weird framework I'd never heard of. I wish I had this tool then. I just froze.
Well, for the total blank scenario, the nuclear option where you have absolutely no idea, use the comeback move. Don't lie, don't ramble, say this. I want to give you a thoughtful answer on that, and I want to check one data point first. Can we circle back to this at the end?
Oh, wow. You value accuracy over speed. That's next level thinking.
Precisely. But Kim, knowing these phrases isn't enough. You have to build the muscle memory so you don't panic when the adrenaline hits. Think of this like a fire drill. You don't want to be reading the manual when the building is burning. You need repetition.
I definitely need the practice. Listeners, let's do this together.
Great. Ready? I will say the prompt and leave silence for you to repeat the phrase. Drill 1. The classic buffer. Repeat after me. That's a really good question. Good. Remember the tone. Thoughtful, not surprised. Try it again. That's a really good question. Excellent. Drill 3. The clarifier. This is for when you're stuck. Repeat. Just to make sure I hit the right angle, are you asking about X or Y?
Awesome. Final drill. The total blank. Repeat. I want to give you a thoughtful answer on that. Can we circle back to this at the end?
Perfect. Now let's do a live fire test. Kim, are you ready?
I think so. Hit me.
Kim, if you were a kitchen appliance, which would you be and why? And how would that influence your approach to stakeholder management?
That's a really good question. Just to make sure I hit the right angle, are you asking about the functional characteristics or more about the relationship dynamics?
Beautiful. You just turned a weird curveball into a thoughtful clarification. How did that feel?
Honestly, the silence felt scary for a second, but then I realized I was in control. I wasn't rushing.
That's the power of buying time to think. Silence is an empty space. It's where the authority lives.
This is life-changing. I'm realizing that all this time I thought being smart meant having instant answers, but actually being smart means knowing when to slow down.
Exactly.
So, what's the challenge for the week?
I want you to use the good question buffer at least once this week, even on a question you know the answer to. Maybe your spouse asks what you want for dinner. Instead of saying pizza instantly, say, that's a really good question. Let me think. Train your brain to be comfortable with that silence in a safe environment first.
I love that. Practicing in a safe environment instead of jumping right into it.
We've all had those moments where we word vomited in a meeting. And listeners, I would love to hear the horror stories.
Yes, tell us in the comments, what is the worst question you've ever blanked on in an interview or meeting? Did you freeze or did you ramble?
Let us know below. We want to see who had it the worst. The most painful story gets a pen.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to stop panicking at work. We're dropping new unwritten rules every week.
I'm Cosby.
And I'm Kim. Keep it unwritten.